Good morning.
Good morning. I need some clarity about something.
Okay.
So last weekend when Donna and Joe were here, we had this conversation about 0 point.
Yes.
And I'm a visual learner, so I've been working on seeing this visually. And how I see it is that it's like a number line. And on one side is +1, +2, +3. On the other side is -1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And the goal is to be at this 0 point. However, sometimes we make choices in life that changes our 0 point into the negative side or the positive side.
Sure.
So is this like when people go through their life, they have a new normal?
Well, maybe. Yeah, I think that could be possible. So let's say 0 point is a person kind of living in a balanced state of well-being. They have a sense of themselves. They have a sense of seniority, of being capable and certain, kind, gracious. They live in words like allowing. They can allow the world to be where it is. They can engage on their terms, pretty much. They can choose to let the world go by, pretty much. But we're not there very often. In fact, most of people in life don't even really know where that place is. So we live more in the scale, let's call it 1 to 10 positive, 1 to 10 negative. And so a person that is, let's say, I'm not okay, I don't deserve, I've been beat up, the world's all about getting me, I don't have enough. Their life is off balance with a lot of emotions in it. Let's call emotions words, anger, rage, resentment, things that have emotions that have edges to them. And their 0 point is somewhere over, here's my everyday life, this is where I live.
On the negative side.
On the negative side, I don't deserve, the world's out to get me. And some days they have good days, and they move a little bit closer to the balanced state. Other days they have bad days, they move away from it. But their 0 point is over here, quite a ways away from their alignment as a spiritual being in well-being. You have people over here on this 1 to 10 side also. They're not necessarily in balance either. So you get somebody who, let's say, believes strongly in it's better to give than to receive. And they're giving and they're happy and they're taking care of people, and yet they're not healthy. They're out of balance. They're often taken advantage of. They don't have much for themselves. But their whole mindset is very focused on, but yet, so just kind of that scale being simple, out of balance, but I think I'm doing all the right things. I'm out of balance and the world's out to get me. When you live out there in those 0 points, you actually move to a space where that's the 0 point, and your 1 to 10 is sometimes I have good days and sometimes I have bad days. But where we're all moving to is this, or at least where we play in all the Mastering Alchemy work, is what is really your 0 point? Not what is the world about, what's happening in the world, what's your job to fix people. What are you about?
Well, and the picture I'm getting is that if we stay in this, I'll just call it neutral 0 point, versus being on the positive or the negative, we have more options. When you're over here, there's a limitation. When you're over here, there's a limitation. But when you're in the neutral 0 point, you have the whole range of choice.
Yes, but let's talk about that. So in that 0 balance point, what happens is where you are able to allow, discern, let things go by without grabbing a hold of them, something really kind of magical happens to that person. And I watch it all the time in Mastering Alchemy. I begin to be less engaged in the noise of life. I begin to be less affected by the noise of life, the emotions, the dramas. And in this particular place, when people get really quiet and they start to find, what am I all about comfortably? How would I like to live my life? There begins to be a space where it's almost as if a new range of that 0 point opens up, and everything comes to you. You don't have to work as hard. And when you start to find that in that place where I'm not moving away from my balance, the ability to start to think a thought, and pretty soon it happens. So I want to go to the movies, and somebody calls and says, you want to go to the movies. At the beginning of that, it's coincidence. Oh, wow, I just was thinking about that. But when you start to recognize it wasn't coincidence, it's happened again and again and again, and you start to recognize I have the capacity to think a thought and manifest a reality. You see, that doesn't happen when I'm giving and giving and giving and fixing, and it doesn't happen when poor me. It's really a point of balance that all of a sudden opens up a whole range of awareness to that individual. You start to find that just by holding an alignment of, as we talk about often, words, and holding an alignment of happy, beginning to recognize in present time, I can place my attention on a creation and hold it there, and that creation somehow in my future present time moments shows up on my doorstep. So beginning to think about, where am I on that? What is your ideal balance point? If you really just could live the life, you had a magic wand, boom, everything you wanted in terms of ability to engage and be happy, be comfortable, be able to be creative, without having to depend on or need. But that doesn't exclude engaging, because engaging is really a wonderful thing. But on your terms, what would that point look like? And if you can begin to say, how do I want to live my space from that point, a lot of this noise over here starts to just fall away, and you find yourself kind of migrating back to this place. But to a great extent, the hard part is, can I let go of all the noisy politics I believe in, or the I have to give and fix the world, it's my job to serve? Well, in this space, the ability to be in service is significantly heightened with ease rather than service with effort.
Yeah.
But it's a decision. It's a place where you say, what is my balance point?
And also to recognize when we're not in that balance point.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, even a trick I'm seeing right now is to, every day I am on a scale. I'm on a number line. What number am I right now?
Yeah, and it's not a judgment.
No.
It's a noticing. How am I where I really want to be at this minute? And if the answer is no, it's not a, oh, I've screwed up. It's simply, okay, take a breath. What does gracious feel like? What does happy feel like? What does kindness feel like? It's really a breath, reset, and then say, okay, now I'm engaging within what's in front of me. How do I do it from this space?
Yeah, and recognize when we have that magic moment of a synchronicity or an aha, or somebody calls that you were just thinking about, that moment is when you're at your balanced 0 point. And so another trick would be, okay, this magic happened. Where am I right now? This is my 0 point. Let's put a little bookmark on here, and with the intention of returning here when I find myself on this side of the number line or this side.
And using Joe and Donna as an example, Donna had a question in her space. She really wanted an answer to something, and she phrased it almost correctly to where I could answer it at one point, but it wasn't the right point to answer the question. So you allow it to go by. And later in the next day, she asked it again. And so I was able to just simply kind of talk about something without talking about her piece directly. Oh, gee, I know somebody who had this similar kind of thing once upon a time. And in that space, it was able to be laid out where it wasn't even obvious that I was answering her question. She all of a sudden, in her balanced place, which she had moved to, was able to go, oh, wow, that's really interesting. And you could just see her eyes say, that's what I'm looking for. Never even realized that she was asking the question and I was answering the question, because you can navigate from that 0 point without saying, oh, I can fix you, I have your answer. Wasn't even important that she recognized that in that case I said anything to her. The answer came to her. And that's a great space, because that word allowing begins to be really valuable, because as you start to step into the strength of yourself in that 0 point, the ability to begin to influence the world without a lot of effort. It's just like, wow, look over there, and everybody walks to the window and has the experience that they were looking for but didn't know it was there to have.
Yeah.
So 0 point, interesting way of beginning to look at where am I?
Where am I? Where's my 0 point?
Yeah.
Good.
So are you confused now?
No, I got it.
Clear. Right, great. So what else do you want to talk about?
Let's eat breakfast.
Breakfast. Oh, that's a great idea. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that.